Hi everyone, it's Maya. This is video 1 of Module 10. So in this module we are learning techniques for removing non-beneficial energy. In other words, energy clearing techniques. Now in this video we are going to basically just talk about why you would need to do energy clearing and what are some of these non-beneficial energies that I'm referring to. Now that phrase, non-beneficial energies, that's a phrase that I started using in my classes to describe a whole slew of different kinds of negative energy or energy that's not so good for you. Okay? So there's a whole bunch of things on this list, and I'm actually going along with the handout. So if you haven't printed that out yet, I want you to pause the video, and you probably can't read it. I want you to pause the video and open up that handout and or print it out so you can follow along with me. Okay, so some of the different non-beneficial energies. Old emotional traumas. Now let's talk about that one. Old emotional traumas. And actually they can be new emotional traumas as well. So it can be any emotional trauma. And what happens is you end up storing that in your physical body or your aura, your energy field, or somewhere in your being. You have ended up possibly storing that energy of that trauma, and eventually it can start to cause disease or physical pain or other kinds of issues. And so we don't want that energy there, right? You want to release any of that old stuff so that it's not having a negative impact on you. Another type of energy that's not beneficial for you that you would want to release is energy from a prior surgery. Now, a lot of people don't realize this. Even if you have a really wonderful surgeon and they are a really positive person, still having your body cut open is traumatic it is traumatic for your body and your energy field. So there's something we can do about it. We can remove any of that non-beneficial energy from the surgery, any of the pain, any of the discomfort, any of the confusion that your body felt on a cellular level, right? During the surgery, we can remove all of that. So we remove all of that energy from the surgery, and then after that, you send energy in by doing standard Reiki. Okay. Then another type of non-beneficial energy, as we move along the list, is energy from a past physical trauma like an accident. Let's say you had a car accident in the past, or even something that you think is insignificant, like you fell down. That may have been really jarring for your energy system or your physical body, both. And so we want to move any of that energy out that was really shocking or jarring for your body. Okay. I have had clients who had serious car accidents, who had a serious car accident when they were younger, and it really, it's like I could see different disjointed kind of energy in their aura, and so we definitely wanted to remove that so that it would no longer be affecting them in the here and now. Okay. Next on the list is energy cords. Let's talk about what that is. Some of you know what it is, but some of you don't. I want you to imagine like a little tube, or it can be like an electrical cord that you plug into the wall. It goes from the electrical outlet into the lamp or something. This cord is It's a cord that carries energy, and it goes from one person and hooks into another person. Or it could go from a person to a situation, or even a house, or personal belongings. So it's not just relating to person. But the most common way that we think about it is person to person. So we think of like someone in our life who is like an energy vampire. They want to plug in, like they literally want to take their energy cord, right? And they want to plug right in and just start siphoning off our energy. And if you've ever been around somebody who every time you're done engaging with them, you feel really, really tired, that's an energy vampire, and they have plugged their energy cords into you, and they're sucking your energy away. And we don't want that. There's other times when people connect energy cords, negative energy cords, like sometimes if there's a dysfunctional relationship, then one person might be either sucking energy from the other person or sending energy. There might be a friend who's upset, and they have an energy cord attached, and they're sending negative emotions, or maybe sending negative thought forms. Maybe they have energy cords attached here. I've seen women who were in the process of either healing their relationship with their significant other or breaking up with their significant other, in which the relationship was very controlling, or the person that they were with was very controlling. And I would often see energy cords attached and sometimes even tied around the person's neck, the woman's neck, so that she couldn't breathe. She felt like she couldn't breathe, and she couldn't speak up for herself or speak her truth. So those were energy cords that we definitely want to release. So there's just any number of different ways that someone can connect their energy to you. Most people in the world are actually not aware of energy and how it works. So they're not consciously thinking, I'm going to connect an energy cord to that person. It's more like they're thinking about you, and thought actually is a way of sending energy. So they're having emotions and thoughts about you, and that's connecting their energy to yours, right? So those are non-beneficial energy cords. There are positive energy cords, like a mother or father to their child. Those are cords of love that go from their heart to the child. And when we do energy clearing, we never, ever remove these positive energy cords. In fact, they just can't be removed. So you don't ever have to worry about that. When we practice these techniques that we're going to get into in the second video, it's all about removing any non-beneficial energy. Okay, next on the list. You might have, even if they're not actually energy cords, you might be picking up on strong negative intentions from others, including psychic attack. So if someone is really, really angry and they're in a rage and they're sending psychic energy your way, again, the majority of people don't really understand energy. They're just your normal, everyday, mainstream people. So they don't know that they're sending a psychic attack. They are just in a rage. They're really pissed off, and they are sending all sorts of emotion and energy, and that is glomming onto you, and it can really wreak havoc. And then there are also people, as you know, who are very knowledgeable about energy, who, unfortunately, there are people like this on the planet that would on purpose, consciously, knowingly send a psychic attack. And I've had that happen to me before, so I know all about it. So those people who participate in that sort of thing knowingly really give people who work with energy a bad name because the rest of us only work with love and light. So just know that sometimes there are people like that on the planet, and so just it's not anything to be afraid of, but it's something to be aware of. So you might, some of the symptoms of being under psychic attack are if you're accident prone and lots of crazy things start happening in your life. In my situation, my computer crashed, my assistant's computer crashed, the guy that I was dating, his computer crashed, and my website person, their computer crashed, like all within 24 hours. This was someone who was sending negative energy towards my business. This was over 10 years ago, so don't try to figure out who it was because they're not even around anymore. But it was really unfortunate and really yucky. And then my car broke down, and my assistant's car broke down, and the guy that I was dating, his car broke down, and the web person, their car also broke down. And and I was also feeling all this oppressive energy in my home. Yeah. So when it comes to like a really big psychic attack like that, you're going to need more than the methods that we're going to learn about today. You're going to, I would use the third technique, which is energy sweeping, and that'll be in the second video. And then I would also use a lot of other things for not just clearing yourself, but you'll need to clear your whole home if you really do feel like you're under some kind of psychic attack. You can say prayers in each room and burn sage and do all sorts of things to raise the vibration. The important thing is to not get into fear because the person is only going to succeed with psychic attack as much as you allow them. And the more you get afraid, you're actually allowing them to attack you. So it's like with a bully. If you just kind of say, whatever, just go away, and then you clear your house, then that tends to do the trick. But if you start to obsess about them and worry about them, then that keeps the energy feeding both ways. Yeah. So we'll actually get more into psychic attack in year 2, but I mention this so that you will know that the third technique, energy sweeping, is a great technique for working directly in your aura or your client's aura, in clearing out any of those energy cords and any attack energy from that person's body, and then working on the home and the car and their life energy is a bigger task. Okay. Next on the list, if you are picking up on any energies or feelings from other people, a group, or even the community as a whole. Now let's break that down a little bit. If there's someone in your household that is having depression or anxiety or anger issues, and you are feeling that, even though you know that those are not your feelings, then we can use some of these energy clearing techniques to help move some of that out so that you'll feel better. A group of people, believe it or not, you can actually be picking up energy from a whole collective of people. For example, if the collective of energy at your workplace is really negative and dysfunctional, and you're not just picking up energy from one person, but from the whole workplace. And these techniques can work on clearing that energy out. And even from a community as a whole. So there might be a certain kind of energy happening in your entire city. Those cities around the country that have been unfortunate enough to have some kind of a violent act of violence in their community, or some kind of natural disaster, some kind of horrible event, the energy and perhaps there's a lot of collective fear that comes up, or perhaps there's a lot of collective cooperation and love. Who knows how that community responds? But you can be picking up on what's happening in your community, and it might not be your own emotions, but you're picking up on, like, it's almost like radio signals that you're receiving. And a lot of people don't realize that. So I did see this a lot in 2008, 2009, the collective energy, not just of the city, but of the whole United States and beyond, around money, because that was when the economy went down the tubes there for a while. There was a collective energy of fear, extreme fear, and poverty consciousness all around money. And so you don't want to be plugged into that, because then you're going to be really poor and not having money for food, right? Or really worried about money. So you don't want to be connected in or receiving any of those, I think of them as radio signals, any of those collective energies that are non-beneficial. But any energies that are positive, that are going to keep you healthy and thriving and happy, then those are great to be connected in with. So these energy clearing techniques that you'll be learning can help to move out any of these non-beneficial energies that you might be picking up from the collective energies on the planet or your city or your community. Okay, then there's also energies related to exposure to toxins like smoking, eating lots of junk food, illegal drugs, and powerful medical treatments like chemotherapy and radiation. Now, so if you are someone who smokes, for example, or you have a client who smokes, you can use any of the 3 techniques to help move those toxins out of the person's body. And that's very positive. Same thing with all of the other things on the list, like junk food, drugs, chemotherapy, radiation. Now, with some of these things like smoking and junk food, you do have a choice. So you'll want to work with some of the other Reiki techniques. If you're working on these issues with yourself, you'll want to use some of the other Reiki techniques, like using Chokurei, the power symbol, and Seheiki, the emotional mental symbol, to help heal some of those habits. Okay, and you can also use those on your client. So yes, you can do Reiki to help clear out the smoking, but then if the client leaves the session and then lights up a cigarette and smokes a pack right after the session, they've kind of negated the work that you've just done. So you want to clear out that non-beneficial energy, but also work on reducing those habits as well. Obviously, that's common sense. And then normal everyday illnesses like headache, common cold, etc. The first 2 techniques that we're going to be learning, bidirectional Reiki and pain drain, are great for moving out headaches and that achy feeling when you have the cold or flu. Perfect for those kinds of situations. And then also other non-beneficial energy that you can clear out is painful injuries like burns, bruises, etc. Some of you know the story about how I burned my hand really badly. Gosh, it was maybe 8 or so years ago. And I burned, I don't know if you can see this part of my hand. And there's no scar at all. And I used bidirectional Reiki on my hand. I was visiting a friend's house for Thanksgiving, and they were having a traditional turkey dinner. And they had a gravy boat with gravy in it, and it had just been boiling on the stove. And I was the first person to go through the food line, and I was trying to get the gravy to come out, and I had my hand holding the plate, and it was all gloppy, and it wouldn't come out, it wouldn't come out, it wouldn't come out. And then finally it just all came out and glopped onto my hand, and it stuck on my hand because it was this gloppy stuff. And it burned, it hurt really bad. And I ran to the sink and washed it off, and it was it turned bright red and then bright purple, and then it started to blister. And so most of you know that, most of you on Thanksgiving Day, you sit there and spend a long time eating your meal. And so I sat there at the table for about 3 hours with the family that I was visiting, and I just had my hand over the burn, and I was doing bi-directional Reiki for 3 hours straight. I would take my hand off and take a bite, and I was still eating and conversing and drinking. And then every time I got done using my hand, I brought that hand back and was doing Reiki on it. And it was about 3 hours straight. And that burn got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and until it turned into a little tiny dot. And then it was gone. So I had no scar, the blister was gone, and no redness, no purple, nothing. I didn't have to go to the doctor. So these techniques are really powerful. In the second video, there's only 2 videos in this module. In the second video, I'm going to demonstrate and teach you how to do these 3 different techniques, and each one is recommended for different kinds of things that you want to release. I do want to also mention that none of these techniques that we are going over in the second video, none of these techniques are a part of the traditional Usui Reiki system. These are various different techniques that, the first technique is one that I intuitively discovered. I didn't really create it. And then the second technique is from shamanic, earth-based tradition and some other energy healing modalities, and the same thing with energy sweeping as well. So I just wanted to point out these are not from traditional Reiki, but they are very powerful techniques and they're very commonly used. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video, where I will have a very special furry guest as my patient, my recipient, my client, as I demonstrate the techniques for you. See you in the next video. Bye.